Hello everyone, this is Daryl20, and welcome to episode 104 of Daryl20's Let's Play of ATM10. Today's plan, more of this. Last episode, so we've got cyanite covered. We want to make ludicrite next, right? And that's going to be cyanite and 2 plutonium. So we already made some of that, which means that that's automated. Magentite we've automated. Ridiculite is next, right? So that's going to be ludicrite ingots with magentite fluid makes ridiculite. So let's get ready to do the thing. Because I think we can actually make this now, if I'm not mistaken. So if I want ridiculite, right? And again, he's doubling, so be careful with that. Okay. That, and then magentite will be that, right? So that should be pretty easy peasy. And now we're getting to the part where hopefully I'll be able to figure out like what all I'm doing, right? So you're going to go in there and you're going to go in here. So if I want some ridiculite, cool. You should have no problem making that happen. So you should have done your thing and you did your thing and we got a ridiculite ingot. Nice. Because we've got magentite ingots from this guy running. So last episode, we basically made it so that we have all the reprocessing machines that we need, and that's cool. Now, magentite reactant is cool. Ridiculite, we're going to call done. What we're ultimately working towards is this guy. So we need Insanite ingots, which is going to need benitoite and a rosinite. And then in addition to that, we're going to need Insanite ingots, which we're going to get from rosinite with ridiculite, which I just made the ridiculite, right? So really it's rosinite that we need at this point. Rosinite is the key to the whole thing. So rosinite is where we're at. Rosinite is going to come from veridium, verderium reactant, right? So verderium ingots are going to go into thing. Now, what's interesting is there's no verdir ingot, right? So what we're going to need to do, reactor fuel injection port. I think we're going to need to reactor fuel injection port reinforced. That may be a thing. So I think we have to dump the fuel in there as a liquid rather than as a solid. So rather than you being an input as a liquid, you're going to be that. Okay. Now, when you get the rosinite out, is there rosinite? There is not. So that means I'm assuming we're going to need a reinforced fuel injection port. And we need to do this as fluids. It's not items that go in, it's fluids that go in. And you can be set to the output, right? So in theory, that's going to be fluid goes in, fluid comes out, and then we can use the fluid, and that's kind of cool, right? So we should probably have a storage drawer destined for rosinite once I get a bucket's worth. We'll get there when we get there. So to make this, we need to get verderium, which is going to be yellorium plus plutonium. So, and that's going to need to be fluidicized, right? So we're going to need to get fluid. You know what? We can also do it in ingot form. Solid mixing. 2 uranium ingots and a plutonium ingot gets 2 buckets. What's the other way? 2 and 1 gets 2. So like, we could do solid mixing, right? We should do solid mixing. I'm on board with solid mixing. Solid mixing? Let's do it the solid mixing one. That would be you, right? So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say, let's have, so you're going to be 2 solid injectors, right? So let's have you be, So you guys are going to be here. I want to be able to run this across here, right? So you're going to, on the north face, insert filtered yellorium. Or uranium, for that matter. I'm assuming uranium. That's a good question. Uh, thing with the uranium works. Cool. So uranium it is? Uranium it is. All right, cool. So you're going to insert uranium, and then you are going to insert plutonium, right? And then, so if I got that, and then we said that you are 2 and 1. Let's make sure that doesn't derp up too much. You're cool. Makes 2 buckets of verderium. And that's going to go in a pattern provider that's probably going to sit right here. And you need more item cards. Man, I love how fast that crafted. How cool is it when you get to this stage and you're just like, boom, and it crafts. North, you're actually going to be a fluid output. So on the north, you're going to be a fluid output. And then on the down, you're going to be a fluid input, right? Because it's making a liquid. So I guess what I'll do is I'll have you be a chest. Okay. And then you can laser IO on the up. You can extract 8 items at a time. And that should be cool. Yeah. So now if I want verderium, I'm actually going to move you. On the up, you will be an extract. You will link because I want to cable. And it's at this point that I'm starting to question how many channels I have left. I just want to make sure. You're at 30 of 32, so I've got 2 channels left. I have fun trying to min-max my channels. I'm sorry. I've been playing Minecraft for 12 years. Sometimes you need to find ways to entertain yourself and challenge yourself. I will probably at some point very soon need to with the channels. Okay, we'll do like an episode of channel cleanup, and I'm sure everyone will love it because everyone always loves the channel cleanup episode. But yeah, if I wanted you now, you're gonna make 2 buckets, assuming we had a cyanite, which we don't because I'm currently converting it all to plutonium. So that's one problem I'm running into is I need to find a way to like keep a certain amount of cyanite handy, and I don't know if there's an easy way to do that. Like what I've been doing is this, like stopping that, and then you're cool. And then like in a minute we'll have enough, and that'll be neato. But I don't exactly know, so we'll figure it out. Yeah, it'll be a thing. Okay. So are you cool to make now? You are cool to make. So if we check this dude out. Oh, he did thing. And you need to be turned on, fluidizer. And I'm assuming you also need power fluidizer. Hooray! Hooray! Make sure you're turned on too. And you are on, and you are on. Beautiful. Okay, so that means you guys are here, right? So I can bucket that out. And then I presumably can go stick this in here somehow. Not that way. Hooray! Sweet. Okay, so then you're going to say fluid insert on, I'm going to call it the green channel. Okay. And then you're going to connect to these bad boys, and you're going to connect to this dude. And then on the up, you're going to extract on green. And since these are running once every second, it's okay that we don't have advanced overclockers in there. You really only need those if you're going to be doing it like every tick. Boom, that worked. Sweet. So if we come in here, your fuel tank is empty because your fuel should be in here. 0.04% full. Sweet. And I can turn you on and you're cruising. Now, in theory, you're producing more verderium. Okay. Yeah, look at it go. Sweet. And now you're going to be a little bit more full, right? And then at some point, we're going to run out of the stuff that we need. You seem like you're stuck, so I'm canceling you, by the way. Right? So it's making plutonium from cyanite, which we're going to run out of, right? And then it's also using ludicrite, which we made some in advance, but like we're going to need more of that soon too. So like this won't last very long. The point being though is that we're actually burning it at a pretty decent pace, which is cool. Waste is empty though, 0.5 millibuckets per tick. Waste is empty because you auto output, so it doesn't wait for a whole bucket's worth, right? What it does is it immediately dumps into the waste tank because as it burns, it's a fluid, so it doesn't have to wait until it gets a full bucket's worth to spit out an ingot. That's cool, right? So then you, on the north, will extract on red, and you, on the up, will insert on red, and now we've got rosinite, which in a minute will have a bucket's worth, which means I can go home. Okay. And your job will be to store rosinite in a hopefully very large amount. Now, I don't want to void probably, right? 500 buckets sound like enough, and you're not going to void the rosinite. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and then I can do a fluid canister. Right? And then 1.5-ish buckets, and that's cool. Okay. And then that rosinite is going to be used in two places. Right? The rosinite is going to be used to make inanite, which we already know. And don't forget -2 for some reason, weird JEI integration there. Right? Okay. And then in addition, we know we need it for this, insanite. Right? Which again, he doubled the recipe for. That's wild. 16 becomes 1. Okay. And that's 2 buckets of rosinite that needs to be in there. Now, both of these are in a reprocessor that is item plus fluid equals item reprocessor. Reprocessor is the one that's this dude. Right? Now, tell me, do I have any Bennettoit? We have a little bit. So I should be able to make an nanite ingot? Yes. And by the way, quests. I haven't really been ludicrite and ridiculite. Fluidicite and ridiculite. So that one's taking a hot minute. And then in nanite, we should be cool in a minute once I actually get my ridiculite. But in nanite is cool. The other thing I sometimes do is take this crafting card out, and then it won't on-demand craft anymore. Right? All right, which one am I missing? Ludicrate? Is it Ludicrate? It's ridiculite. I just need one for quest completion. So that'll be ready in like 25 seconds. So Cyanite's going pretty quick. Part of me wants to throw down another giant cyanite maker. The other part of me wants to do cyanite bees. Even though I said that was cheating. Because it is. Because it is. I wouldn't want to do cyanite bees, like, only. The reason I would be okay with doing cyanite bees is if the pack requires so much of it that bees is the only reasonable way to do it, right? So I like getting to build these giant reactors and getting these resources the correct way. But if the pack's like, by the way, you need 1 million cyanite, I know that's going to take 1 million years. So bees it is, right? That would be my approach to doing bees. But I'm not going to do bees unless I have to. Because like I said, I'm having fun doing it this way. Right? So now you go and you go and you go and you go and you go because you guys weren't able to do anything anyway, and you can go away and you can go away and you can go away and you guys can go in my backpack and you all can go away and you and you and you, and that feels... I do want that crafting card to hang out though. Cool. Way cleaner inventory. Gotta do it now and again. Sweet. So we've got all this stuff done, which is super cool, right? Now we need Insanite, which I should also be able to make. Hey, I have 2 buckets of rosinite. Nice. I actually have 4 buckets of rosinite, so booyah. Cool. And then we've got Insanite, which is cool. And then we need the Insanite block. Okay, which is going to be U plus U. Cool. So now we need a lot more cyanite and we need a lot more rosinite, but we should be able to get there. The only thing I might do is, just for the sake of getting this to run a little bit faster, which in fairness, it's running pretty fast. A lot faster than this is. Like, we're getting a millibucket and a half per tick, so it's not taking a long time. That said, we're probably maybe running out of fuel. I can't really tell. Max fuel is 35 buckets worth. So in theory, we're going to get 35 buckets of rosinite. Yes, in theory. Because I think it's 1-to-1, right? Rosinite reactant is... It doesn't have values on here, so I assume it's a 1-to-1 ratio. I assume. I don't know for sure. But in theory, I let this sit for like 20 minutes, and we'll have an Insanite block. And then the only thing I have to do from there is decide if I want to this for more cyanite or bees for cyanite. Because cyanite is my bottleneck. Right? Cyanite is my true bottleneck. So if I wanted to, I could do some bees to get lots more cyanite. Just out of curiosity. Just because I want to check. Cyanite comes from cyanite combs, cyanite bees, which comes from giving a cyanite block to a radioactive bee, which comes from breeding iron and cree bee. Okay. And iron breed. So, like, it's a bunch of bee breeding. So we just take a normal bee and hand it TNT, and it's a creeper. And iron comes from crystalline and ashy. And I feel like we had crystalline, didn't we? If not, it's easy to get. And if not, it's easy to get. So shouldn't be hard to get cyanite bees if I decide that I want them. Cool. But that is Insanite blocks. Like, we're good. Like, that's it. We're done. Like, complete, right? Like, we've got everything we need. We can make it. All the machines are in place. All the processing is running. All we need to do is wait for more of this and more of this, and we'll be good to go. And that'll get me one Insanite block, which is all I need for the Philosopher's Fuel. But then we can easily ramp everything up if we decide we want to go insane. So while that rips, let's figure out what rainbow coal's all about. Also, I can probably hand in a bunch of stuff, right? Yes. Lava. Okay. I was going to say, isn't that one of the things I needed to make? But no, I need that, but with Eclipse Emperor Fuel. Cool. Okay. I was going to hand in a bunch of quests that apparently have random awards, so I can't just receive them in a cool way. That's basically the chapter, unless I was to do the turbine, which, you know, meh. Sweet. All right, so all of that can go away, including these guys. And can I make you yet? We're getting close. Halfway. Halfway to the correct amount of rosinite, and halfway to the correct amount of cyanite. So, like 5-10 minutes? Yeah, it's probably a good guess. So, speaking of things that'll take 5 or 10 minutes, the rest of the episode. How do I get rainbow coal? How indeed do I get rainbow coal? So what mod is rainbow coal from? Rainbow coal is from the iron furnaces mod. So I think there's an iron furnaces under tech, right? Maybe not. Generators and furnaces? Hey, here we go. Alright, so this, which requires a rainbow furnace, which rainbow core, rainbow plating. Quest complete. And what don't you have? Copper? Cool. Okay. So those guys are cool. What don't you have? Silver? A lot of this I've done. It's just I didn't have them in my inventory because, you know, it doesn't detect. So now rainbow coal is unlocked. You blew up the rainbow furnace. You just lit TNT right next to it. Are you mad? That took so many furnaces and resources, and you just blew it up. Did you at least get something good from it? Rainbow coal? Coal that lasts forever? Actually, that's pretty worth it. Actually, that is kind of cool. That is kind of cool. So rainbow furnace. I just literally blow it up. I didn't know there was infinite coal in this pack. That's kind of a neat thing, no? I'm assuming I place it in the world and then blow it up. Nope. Something is telling me to blow it up. Yeah, I just tried. So do I do the item entity? Sand. And gadget. I'm gonna try it with tiny TNT because I would assume that that it's not like it has to be, especially the fact that it didn't work currently. But I'm going to assume that the way this works is we do It probably just detects an explosion nearby. Magnet off. Nope, that didn't work either. If I cared about resources, I'd be upset right now. But look how easy that was to make. Rainbow furnace, something is telling me to blow it up. Let's see what the quest says. Is it like specific about the side? You just lit TNT right next to it. Are you mad? I'm gonna try tiny again. If this doesn't work. Nope. Nope. Okay. Dyer may be going to the internets in a moment if he can't figure out how this works. Something is telling me to blow it up. Yep. I've been trying, friends. It doesn't want to blow up. All right, internet says it might be a claimed chunks issue. So, boom. Nope. Was not a claimed chunks issue. Going to try it further away. Not that I would expect that to make a difference at all. Did that work? Oh, for some reason that worked. Okay. That is weird, but I got rainbow coal, so I'm happy. I kind of want another one. Is that too much to ask? Another infinite coal, please? You know, one for me and one for me. Yay, it worked. Sweet. That is kind of cool. Gotta say, that is kind of cool. I wonder how I could abuse infinite coal in this pack. I have no idea. At my current level of technology, I should add. So we've got infinite coal, so that's super cool. So there's your rainbow coal, and it's full, so there's nothing to fill it with. You know, what I did fill was 10 minutes worth of content. So how we doing? How we doing, Insanite block? Are we there yet? We are really close. We are really, really close. We are a bucket or two away. Now, what's your rate of... Yeah, see, your burn down rate is lower because we've been burning all of our fuel, right? But we actually have a close to enough cyanide too, so it's only going to be like a couple minutes. All right, let's come back because I do want to get this before we wrap up the episode. All right, if I'm not mistaken, we got enough. So I hit start, and it's got a bunch of crafting that needs to happen, but it should all work, I assume. Yes. Cruising. It's making the Insanite blocks. It's going to make some plutonium. It's going to make all the things. Yep, here comes the plutonium now, which will be like, you know, not terrible, right? And then that's going to turn to, you know, or stuff's happening. I don't really know what. All the things are happening. I just wanted to kind of see if, like, throwing multiple crafts at these machines all at once would be a problem. I mean, I could always put in, like, blocking mode or something like that, or, like, wait for crafting to complete mode. But I kind of feel like I shouldn't need to do that because in theory, it's going into a buffer that can only hold one item, right? So like, it shouldn't be able to put 2 fluids into that tank at once because it's only a single tank door, not a double tank door. You know? Yeah. Okay. So then plutonium is on its way here. Yeah, these numbers definitely do not update. You have to like close and reopen the UI for them to refresh a little bit. It's funny. Well, no, I know what's happening. I know exactly why this happens. Kind of. Because I'm assuming that's not an... No, I have no idea. I generally can assume why that, but yeah, there's something networking correctly. I have a couple ideas on what's wrong and how to fix it, but also I don't know for sure. So we've got the Insanite blocks. Ingots, I mean. And now we're making the Inanite blocks. So we have to make ludicrite, and then we have to make ridiculite, and then we have to make Inanite. But it's all there. It's all working. Now, the only thing that's going to happen is we're going to run out of fuel in that reactor over there, and eventually in that reactor there, because we're not inserting either fuel type into them. So cyanide, like I said, is my holdup. So if I want to make a lot more of these, cyanide bees is probably the way to go. Or more reactors, you know. But I said last episode, like, doing bees would be a lot more boring than doing all this building. I think in the same token, just spamming more reactors would be a lot more boring than doing bees. Because, like, at least you're seeing something new, right? I don't know if I'm going to do it, though, because I may not need it, right? Like, I have the Insanium block. It just matters how many ATM stars I decide I want to do. But, like, we can always circle back once we got our first one. You know Dyer. He doesn't always do everything. But I might do everything in this pack, because I'm having a lot of fun. Sweet. Are we cool? We are quest complete cool. That's how cool we are. Look at that. Okay. So if you look, we've got 5 out of the 9 items we need. So that is awesome, right? Boop, 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 boop. Goodbye. So the only remaining items are the dark tank of my fuel, which shouldn't be a big deal. The awakening's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Probably knowing modern industrialization, a big deal. Or if you don't want to go modern industrialization, you could do create. Which a blaze burner from create is like super early create game, right? Like we could have one of these in minutes, probably. I do want to see the new create storage system though. Because I heard there's something. I heard there's a storage system. That's literally all I know. For now, it's wrapping up. Delta 20 sign off. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Take it easy.